What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mongols in 2025. Welcome, everybody. We've got quite the crew here with us. I am Mike Sparks. Joining me today is Steve Mattias, Laura Allen, and Justin Ashcraft, and Drew, aka the Mondo. Welcome, everyone. Happy 2025. Steve, how was your holiday?
Pretty good. Really relaxing. One of the nice things about working in education is all that time off from the end of the semester to New Year's. And it really hasn't even started off. Students don't even have class, I think, until Wednesday, which is great. So I kind of got partway through and realized, you know what? There's all these things I want to get done. I don't need to get anything done. I can just take every day, do what I want on any given day, and that was really, really nice. Got to spend some great time with some good friends and neighbors playing games. But the really big thing was finishing my 100 miles on the North Country Trail. So got that in the Monday before Christmas. So already got my patch and Rory got his dog tag. So
That's awesome.
and that's really big. I mean, I think I've talked about it on the pod before, but I was talking to a friend today about it and how just one of the big lows of the year was Rory needing to have his surgery and just the stress of that. But then doing the North Country Trail with him after that, an awesome high that spanned the majority of the year after he recovered. So lots of memories along the way.
That's awesome. Congrats, man. That's really, really good. Laura Ellen, Justin, how was your holiday?
Good. December is a very busy month for us with birthdays, and my primary academic conference is in December. So I go and see all my friends, my nerdy work friends. And then we have Christmas and all of the, gatherings and church stuff that goes with that, plus family stuff. So I think, what was it? About a week ago, Justin's body collapsed, and then our kid's body collapsed. And then yesterday, we went to the Pennsylvania Farm Show, which was a ton of fun. And then we got home and my body was like, and now it's your turn. And I refused to collapse fully. And so I am just telling my body no. And so that's what we're doing. But yeah, I think we're doing well. Had a lot of family time. People coming from all over the country to, come together, and so I don't know. Do you have anything big you want to share?
Nope. Been playing a lot of Lego Fortnite on my Switch because the couch is great. That's what I've been doing mostly. And so exploring the Lego Fortnite world. But yeah, the farm show was fun yesterday. Got a milkshake and I got to see the animals, and it was a good day.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, this is probably the closest we've been for the most extended period of time for probably over a week, because I got him anywhere near me. So listen, if I end up getting sick, it's Mongol's fault.
We're known for bringing people together, so you're welcome, I guess. Drew, how's your foot? Did you build your speeder yet?
My foot's good. I have not built the speeder yet. I just got cleared to walk without crutches on Friday. Woo-hoo. So that's the biggest milestone so far. So that's good. Everything's looking pretty good for me being able to walk properly by the start of the season. So it helps that our first game is not at home too. So I should be pretty intact by our home opener.
That's awesome. Nice. Awesome. Good stuff. Well,
Mike? Yeah, Mike, what have you been up to?
I always try to skate out of this, and then you guys always rope me back there.
If we have to answer hard questions, you have to answer hard questions.
Yeah. What have I been up to? That's a good question. Lots of little projects that be surprised of no one that I'm starting up 3 different things. So more to come on that. I'm clearly in a different space, a literal different corner of the house. So trying to do something You all know that we're working on some changes here to kick off our 10th year, just in terms of branding and some other things that we're working on. So had some fun doing some brainstorming and thinking through some stuff. So more to come on that soon as well. I'll say fun stuff to come from that as well. So yeah, just having a good time. And same family stuff. I did see Kevin twice, which yeah, had a good time. Spending time with kids, family, just doing stuff that we typically don't have time to do. And the kids were off for 2 weeks for school, and now they're excited because we just got word that they're going to be remote tomorrow because we're supposed to get another 6 to 9 inches or whatever it's supposed to be. So, and I think I told you guys, but I don't know if I mentioned on the show, but we did get another dog, like officially. So, basically another sled dog came along that was kind of homeless at a point. And so we said, okay, well, we were just sort of watching him for a little bit. And it was like each passing hour, we were like, this dog is just not going to leave our house. So we officially now have a second sled dog again, which is fun. Just another personality. So, but speaking of, there's no good transition from that. I was going to say adding another dog, like hound. No, we're not going to do that. Before we get into the resolution, this is the resolution show where we want to talk about our top resolutions for both the Hounds and the Riveters heading into 2025. Before we do that, both teams did have some news that they announced, and I do want to just sort of pick your guys' brains on this just for a second. First up, we learned that the Hounds re-signed Alal Asumanu for a 2-year plus 1-year option deal. So we already saw Junior Etu get this 2-year plus 1-year option. We talked a little bit about this. I think it was on the last show about what this means going forward. Liz was saying maybe this is a bit of the player union sort of flexing their muscles a little bit where you can't just do these 1-on-1s anymore. So Alal is back. But on the flip side, we learned that Danny Rivera won't be back in 2025. And Danny has been a mainstay with the team since 2019. He's made 152 appearances. When we talked to some of the new guys last year, they talked about how important he was in the locker room in terms of welcoming them into the team and sort of letting them know what it's like to be a Hound. So it's a shame to see Danny go. We know Danny's had a huge year, had a kid, got married, all of that. So obviously we wish him the best of luck. I guess just real quick, we'll sort of run around the table and get everyone's thoughts. Alal coming back, Danny not coming back. Steve, you're on the clock. Go.
Love Alal coming back. Do I think he's the best defender we've ever seen? No, I don't. Do I think he's got some good qualities? Yeah. And I think that he brings more to the table than the mistakes that he is sometimes prone to make. So I think his athleticism and his speed makes up for a lot of some of the things he lacks. And I think what I'm most excited about with this is that we know we have consistency on the defense for not just last year to this year, but continuing to have that for a couple of years going forward with at least a couple players. And so that to me is really, really exciting. Obviously, I think rumors of Roby not coming back long before he put out that his goodbye message. So even with time to know that this was probably coming, it still really, really hurts. I mean, I think the things that you talked about players saying how much he makes a difference in terms of welcoming people in. He's just a really, really nice guy, really interactive, remembers the conversations he has with you week after week, year after year. But my absolute favorite Rovi moments was watching him from the sidelines as he was at the supermarket opening where a few of the Hounds came up to Ambridge a year and a half ago. And him being there and interacting with people and welcoming people in and getting them to do the Spanish language rate. I forget the name of the station, but do the kicks towards Zamudio and try to score on a goalkeeper, right? Like just watching him do that and engage with just like all sorts of different people, right? Not just people on the team was so much fun. And to see that type of personality not be here really hurts.
Yeah. Justin, thoughts on the signing and departure?
Yeah, I think for Steve's perspective, I think Danny's a tough one. I think from a business perspective, I'm not sure it was worth re-signing him, not because he's not a good player, but he has seemed to lose a step maybe. And so I hope, what I hope is that after spending 6 years in Pittsburgh and like knowing the club, knowing the team, maybe he feels like he's got another year, 2, 3, 4 to play, and maybe he'll be back, in a couple years to be a part of the academy or whatever, and be again part of the city and what's happening here. But I think it's a tough one from a business perspective, because it is that he's kind of on that line of like, is he? Yes, he could give some spare roles. Is he going to start for this team at this point? Probably not. And so that's hard. Osamanu, yeah, love the signing, love consistency. I would debate Steve's statement of whether he's the best defender we've seen.
I said he's not the best.
Not that I think he's not the best defender, or like that he's the best defender, but given a couple years in Bob's system, our center backs tend to become great. So I'm looking for a 2, 3, 4 goal year from Osamanu this year, and whatever, it'll happen.
Laura Ellen.
Yeah, I don't think I have much to add that hasn't been said. I agree that it's finding that balance. Talking about Rovi, it's finding that balance between who are the culture builders and who are the people who are making a difference on the field. And so, and it's balancing that, right? Because you can't just spend money on culture builders who aren't making a difference on the field. And I think that's what we've seen in the past couple of years with Rovi. So just echoing everything that everyone else said, I think it makes sense. I'm glad to see the longer contracts. I don't know if that is, to Liz's point, having something to do with the players union. It'd be great if that were part of the case, or if it's also just some of the the first word that came to mind was maturing of the budget or approach that the Riverhounds have in thinking about the team, and how does the team fit into the larger kind of organization that exists. So anyway, yeah, all good things, nothing surprising. It's exciting to see what's next.
And last but not least, Drew, is there anything that somebody hasn't said? I'll start with you on the next one so that you don't have to,
I mean,
else first.
The good that I can think of is it's exciting to think of Osamanu as the baseline expectation for our defenders, right? Because he's had some moments of absolute brilliance out there. And basically going out and saying, hey, Osamanu is getting this 2+1. That's the level we expect. You gotta beat that. If you want to start, you got to beat this, right? And that's a big statement, I think. And that's a very Pittsburgh, or at least Riverhounds statement of this is our expectation of our defenders. And I think that's a strong intent statement, especially with these longer contracts being offered.
Yeah.
As far as Rovi's I was going to say disappearance, which is wrong. Departure. I think a disappearance would be easier to handle, but with Rovi's departure, that's going to open the locker room to other players stepping into that leadership role that he has. And I think there are players that I could think of. I'm not going to say anything in case I jinx it, but there are players that I can think of that could absolutely step into that role that Rovi had, who seem to be just as outgoing. And I mean, it's exciting to see maybe we have a new player that steps into that role, and we can celebrate them, right? It gives us a way to celebrate other players. That's of course not saying that we don't want to celebrate Rovi. It's just we can't really anymore, right? Until he comes back. So, and the next part of that is I hope he comes back in as part of a coach, manager, something in Pittsburgh. I'd love to see him back.
One of the things that Aston Villa has done, there was a player that was just loved in the locker room, was a fan. They basically made him a team ambassador. They created a new role for him, but any sort of PR stuff, he'd kind of be out there hyping the team. He greets fans at different events. He could be there in the locker room. Maybe we see Rovey step into a role kind of like that and, do stuff with the academy as well. Because Laura Ellen, to your point, there is that cultural component that I don't think he'd want to lose. I think that he really did help the transition with a lot of these new guys. So yeah, that's what's going on the Hound side. On the Riveters side, they continue to sign players. They just signed Xavier freshman midfielder Kate Friday. Friday came through the RDA and Fox Chapel. So here we have another Fox Chapel kid that's going to be making the jump to, we'll say, the semi-pro level. I think what's interesting is that even though she came through the RDA, she did attend the team's invitational combine. So this was not just like a direct signing from the RDA. She went to the invitational combine and was the first player to be signed from the combine. But so far, 7th player signed to the team overall. Just seems like the Riveters just keep on building. Anybody have any sort of thoughts on Kate Friday or anything else going on at the Riveters before we get into our resolutions here?
Yeah, I think. I've been overly impressed actually with the Riveters signings. Not that I know any of these players I've watched, but just looking at some of their statistics, the impact they made on the college game so far, the success of their college teams, all of that has indicated that it seems like the Riveters are making some good signings, and it shows that the quality of the RDA as well as the girls have come through and gone off to school and other things. So you hope that what I hope is two things. One, I hope this indicates to the girls that are still in the RDA that there's something to work towards, that hey, if I perform on a high level now and then a high level in college, there's a place for me to come back. Number one. And then number two, I hope that the Riveters continue to do that and that the success of the signings translates to success on the field. And so I'm excited for the Riveters season because I feel like they've made some good signings, ambitious signings so far. And so I'm hoping that leads to success on the field.
Yeah, and I think just to build on that, seeing that people, these newer players are coming from the RDA, it also means they're familiar with summer in Pittsburgh. They're close to family, and hopefully that makes it's fewer things for them to have to adjust to coming into playing in this league. And so similar to Justin, but in a little bit of a different way, I really hope that, that it's not just these are the players we're familiar with because they're from the RDA. And so that's why we're signing them. But it's no, these are the players who are going to perform best on the field for our first season and really making a difference that way.
I think the inverse of that is also true, that you started to allude to that there, but that they're familiar with what to expect from Scott as the coach, having played in a system that he's been building over almost 2 decades, getting close to that, a decade and a half, 2 decades, right? And so that I think is really, really important. And I can talk about more of that in a little bit.
I'm also interested in knowing, we don't have numbers on how many from the RDA went to the combine, right?
No.
So there could very well have been a situation where the RDA not necessarily expected, their players to show up to the combine, but there was a large RDA show up at the combine.
Yeah. I think what's interesting here, Drew, you had mentioned it, I think it was on the last show, where you were saying that it seems like there's this trickle-down effect where the organization is almost building an empire. You were sort of alluding to the fact that Tessa came through the RDA. She's now going off in college, playing for the women's national team, and then she's coming back and participating in RDA stuff with younger girls, sort of leading the way. I think this is another case where Friday is from Fox Chapel. And she's a freshman in college. So she's still going to know people at Fox Chapel, and people are going to know, hey, we know her. Let's go to the games. Let's be involved. And so it's being back in the community and drawing more people to games because they have this personal connection with some of these players. So I think it's a good move. It'll be interesting to see. Justin, to your point, we don't really know any of these players. This feels very much like when the Hounds start signing, a bunch of people in the offseason, and we try to speculate who they're going to be. And then 3 months later, we've never heard their name again. And that could be the case, but we just don't know. But regardless, the wheels keep turning, and it's good to see that they're making progress as well. And we're hearing more from both teams. So, guys, let's get into the resolutions. We are in 2025. For any of those who are watching us live, feel free to add your resolutions for both the Hounds or the Riveters into the chat. Maybe we will read them on air. We do have some listener ones we will get to. Guys, let's start with the Riveters. If you could pick one resolution for the Riveters, what would it be? And Drew, I'm going to start with you because I've made you go last the past few times.
For the Riveters, I would say the resolution is learn from the mistakes of the Hounds. So we, as an organization, the Hounds have, they've made a lot of good steps. They've made a lot of bad steps. That's just how things work. The Riveters have the benefit of being part of the Hounds organization and thus have the benefit of like that learned information. And the resolution for me is just, it's just simple. Just make sure you're learning from those things, because a mistake not learned from is a mistake. A mistake learned from is a growth opportunity.
I like it. They were saying, who was we talking to Jeff maybe, where he was saying that they're trying to treat this like a pro team by using all the pro resources. And so it will be interesting to see just how much this does feel and behave like a pro team before they are like an actual pro team. But I like the idea of bypassing the mistakes of previous or, recent years with the Hounds. Laura Ellen, give me a resolution for the Riveters.
Well, I said this before we started recording, but I don't believe in resolutions. Need to think of SMART goals. No, I'm not going to be that person.
You can give us a SMART goal.
We need sprints, okay?
No, I was thinking about this.
For those who aren't watching, you look utterly disgusted right now. Just like the fact that we would like.
I didn't trick. I put on a hat for you today, so you didn't have to see my like.
I didn't say disgusting. I said disgusted. That's all. There's a difference.
I did think about this today because Mike sent out a thing. He's like, think about your resolutions, and so I was thinking about, like from a big picture perspective, it would be great if they, the organization of the Riverhounds would provide as many resources to the Riveters. And then I was thinking, it could be something like, I hope they get sellout, I hope they get like sellout crowds or something. And I think that would be great. I guess like part of me, I'm thinking about kind of the culture of Pittsburgh, and I think I want them to have a winning season by like one game, right? Like I want them to, have over a 500 record or whatever at the end of the season, because I think, it's a short season. It's intense, right? Many of these women are coming from, college seasons that are just ending, right? And going into all of that. So, I think that's my resolution. I'm sick.
We can also have a revolution.
Yeah,
yes, but we're Riveters. We're not the revolution. The revolution wasn't an option, was it? No, it was Confluence. I don't even remember.
Yeah,
I'm happy with Riveters. Justin, do you want to go?
I think mine is probably similar. I would like to see them win the games. I think probably butts and seats more than anything, because I think they put a ton of like work behind this, and like the women's football, whatever it's called, I can't remember what the name of the
board is.
Yeah, the board of women football.
Yeah.
Like they put that together. They put the team together. They've put a lot of investment, on the front end over the last decade and a half into the academy, all that kind of stuff. And to come out and not be able to put people in the stadium for these games would be probably negative in some sense. And so I think trying to figure out how you get that. And then I think the second thing would be like, how do you get that early rivalry with Steel City and make that a thing? And then I think like that'll be really fun for Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Steve?
So kind of similar themes, I think, to a lot of what's been said, but for me, I want to see them having fun and making it a fun environment. So I think a lot of that does come from performing well in the season. I think a lot of that comes from fans being there to enjoy it. But I think more so, I don't care if they have the best season they could have if they're winning in a Bob Lilly special style, right? Like, I don't think that's good for the organization and the team. But if they win one more game than they lose, but they're fun games where there's drama and a lot of goals, I think that's a lot more fun. People are going to come back and people are going to see that. And so I think that is so important for the organization and the brand of the Riveters to do that in the first season, that people want to come and see, because they don't know what's going to happen, but they know it's going to be a fun time. So that when the team eventually decides to say that they're going to make a Super League team, there's already a basis and people are already aware of what that is around Pittsburgh, and then want to come see a top level pro team in Pittsburgh on the women's side.
Could you imagine? Sorry, Laura Ellen.
I just thought of this. Will they be participating in Pride Raiser? With that would be fun to have like a competition. Which team in June can score the most goals?
I was about to say, could you imagine the women's team outscoring the Hounds over the whole season?
I think that, but like something like, I feel like that would be amazing, right? Like having some kind of like competition between, which
like an inter-organization competition. Yeah.
Why not?
You're just giving the Hounds free ideas right now.
No, it's for the Steel Army. It's not for the Hounds. The Hounds don't do Pride Raiser. The Steel Army does.
That's all right. They steal plenty of our ideas anyway. Like that would, whatever.
Means they're listening to us, Mike.
Listen, after we posted Drew's comment about, the team building an empire, Jeff did comment on social media and was like, you guys discovered our secret or something. So we know they're watching. We love you guys. It's great. I'm going to be talking to John Bush later this week. So it's a good time. My resolution is, I agree with everything else that you guys said. I tried to pick something that was like way out, not out there, but just different. I want to see a really cool kit. The Hounds kit this season, even though I was kind of against it early on, it really just seemed to knock it out of the park. We're still seeing people rating kits over from last season, and the Hounds kit is in the top 4 every single time. But from a marketing perspective, the Riveters are already hitting the ground running, trying to get local celebrities to talk about the team and put out videos about the team. And I think if you could start seeing people wearing the kit and just and doing something fun and cool with it, but making it their own. Don't make it a Hounds kit, make it a Riveters kit and see what that looks like. It's a bit of a design challenge, but it'll be really interesting and neat to sort of see what they try to pull off. So I'm looking forward to that. Let's move on to the Hounds. Resolutions for the Hounds. Steve, we will go in reverse order. So give me a resolution for the Hounds, my friend.
So I am riding this high of having a established defense to start the season. So for me, that's huge. And that's don't lose in the first 5 games of the season. I think it's excruciating over the past 7 years to see that preseason for Bob doesn't end until 3-4 games into the season, and that needs to stop for me this year.
Yeah, I don't disagree. A couple of the listeners who did write in on social media said something similar. Dylan on Blue Sky said, don't start the first 6 weeks ice cold for the umpteenth straight year. Bill Gordon on YouTube said being more consistent early in the season. So, I think that's a pretty shared sentiment. And I think that would probably be one of the biggest resolutions that we would probably all agree on. Justin, what do you got?
So a couple things, mostly because for work, I've been breaking down goals into like month stretches or quarterly kind of stretches of things. So the first quarter of this year, we need to sign some attackers. So that's job number 1, because we need goals. First of all, the second part of the year. I think finding that early season consistency. The third would be don't go on a slump in the summer, and the fourth would be win a championship. So those are my 4 kind of like.
I like the disparate nature of those. We need goals. Win a championship.
But like it's don't suck.
Like,
don't suck.
You gotta get that.
Don't suck. Win it all.
Yeah. The forwards is definitely a hot topic. Chandler P. Chumsworth over on YouTube said bring back Jockeson. And Peter on YouTube also said announce the new signees as early as other teams. So we do tend to sit on things a little bit. We do know that the team held their invitational combine. All of the materials that they put out were explicit in terms of hiding any discernible features about any of the players who were there so that no one could sleuth out who was actually invited. But if you look at the team roster, which is posted over on their site, the one position where we have no spots filled is forward. So some forwards would be great.
Yeah. So Jamie Stu is bringing up a rumor that's been online that claims that I forget what team it was in MLS was trying to sign this player to a conditional trial contract, Brigham Larson. But this journalist that I know nothing about is making the claim that the Hounds have agreed to a deal with him, but we haven't seen anything other than that. So maybe we have forward coming out of college. Maybe we don't. We'll see.
Yeah. The comment, thank you for the comment. It made me pull out my phone and check my email to see if I missed something from the Hounds announcing it. So I guess we'll wait and see. Yeah. Laura Ellen?
I mean, I think the Riverhounds, I think for the Riveters, right, to me, it's a bit easier to come up with a resolution because it's kind of the great unknown. And so most things that we have said don't really seem that silly, right? Because we have no idea, right? We're kind of like guessing. However, we've been watching the Riverhounds for, I don't know, 11 years at this point. And it's like, what do I want to say about the Riverhounds, right? Like, I don't know. And I think last season, my thing, I was like, yep, this is fine, right? Like, it's fine. This is what it is. It's still my team. So this isn't going to change, that this is my team. And so, I would love to see lots of things. And maybe some of these longer contracts that we're already signing are a small indication that maybe things are shifting. Who knows? But it's all that to say, it's like I genuinely couldn't come up with one because I'm like, well, history would tell me that probably isn't going to happen. And so is that really a realistic resolution? Probably not. So how about this? How about that I would love for us to, I would really love actually to see some kind of, and this is more of a Steel Army thing than a Riverhounds thing, but to have a really great competition for Pride Raiser between the two teams. I think that would be just so fantastic and just a ton of fun. And can we do it in a way that we can say, hey, I'm donating $10 per goal for the Riveters and $5 per goal for the Riverhounds, and who raises the most, I don't know, right? I think there's something that could be really fun there. And so anyway, I'm gonna stick with that. I really did try, Mike. I really tried.
You said things are shifting towards what? Winning the championship?
I don't know, right? But they've been saying that. They've been saying that for the past however, Tuffy comes out, God bless Tuffy, but Tuffy comes out at the beginning of the season, he's like, we'll go win a championship, right? This is what he says. And I'm like, okay.
And Bob says, that was a really good striker. I can replace him for half the amount, but it'll take 4 years.
I mean, listen, I am here because I'm wearing my Brighton shirt because this is the sweatshirt I put on today because today was laundry day. But
Justin's repping for you. You're fine.
Yeah, there we go. We try collectively. We're trying, but we come out, we come to as many games as we can. This is our team. We're gonna keep supporting them. almost no matter what happens on the field.
Well, we'd like to see them win.
But we would like to. That's right. At some point before we die, a championship would be great.
You just gave Bob and Tuffy a really long leash.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully they die before we die.
Oh man! And this is when the team stopped listening. Drew, give us a resolution for the Hounds.
All right. I think I talked a little bit about this for a Christmas gift. But I think for me the big one would be communication. Just to be better at communication, to have even the press kits that we have that the Hounds do release, just to have more in there, I love the stuff that's in there. It's just, again, like injury information we don't get until another player in the locker room is like, oh yeah, that dude, like, he's sick for 2 weeks, man. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Or some random announcer on TV, like, spoils something that just...
Yeah. Like, how are they getting this?
Right.
And people who are, like, mining the literal Hounds page for information, getting nothing. And my other thing would be, I would love to have a complete team before, like, preseason ends. And one thing that stood out to me is, like, I think Sterling was still technically not on the team until like 2 or 3 games into the season. So I would like to have a complete team before the season starts.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you about the info that they put out in terms of there could be more in there. But I will say, as someone who usually goes and gets the paper copies at home games and looks at what the other teams put out, the Hounds are way ahead. And so that's not so much the Hounds can't do better, but the rest of the league is really bad overall.
Well, maybe the whole league needs to do better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, are there handwritten notes on your copy that they're like,
no, but some of them are just like they put like super big pictures of the players and like the most basic biographical information, and that's about it.
I mean, I think one of my favorite things was on RSL's thing about Burton, because it said born in unknown France.
That's a town. Didn't you know that? There's an actual town called Unknown in France. No, I'm kidding.
Listen, they keep trying to convince me that's a Pokemon too, and that is actually a Pokemon.
I would have to say my resolution is, this is kind of one of those, Laura Ellen, it's kind of along the lines of like, you can hope for it, but we'll see if it happens. I'd love to see us make some kind of a cup run with now the Jägermeister Cup, the Open Cup. You have the playoffs for the USL Championship. Like, go deep in one of the three. Like, if we want to be considered one of the elite clubs in the championship, there is no reason why we should not be making a run in one of those three. To go into the Jägermeister Cup or the Open Cup and just kind of disregard it. We saw what a huge thing it was when we actually decided to focus on the Open Cup and make a run, and the buzz that it generated around the city. And it was everywhere. That generated memories that some of us will never forget. Mm-hmm. And so having more opportunities to win additional hardware, I'd love to see us take some of that seriously. So I think that would be my resolution is I don't care which one, but like focus on one and let's try to have some fun with it and make a run at it and see what we can do. So, yeah. I think that's it for this one, guys. Not a ton of news swirling around the team. As I mentioned, I am going to be talking to John Bush here.
Mike.
What, Justin?
We did not talk about the fact that Kenny's display is up at the Heinz History Center, right next to Sidney Crosby's and the Steel City Roller people. He's got a whole locker at the Heinz History Center now that happened right after Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw the pictures and I couldn't remember if that was new or if that happened around the Riveters, but I guess that is new.
I looked. We last recorded on the 22nd, and that happened on the 28th. So
sweet.
That is
so.
New.
yeah, if you go to the Heinz History Center, you can see Kenny's locker, which is pretty friggin' awesome. I mean, but in all honesty, like, think about this team 10 years ago. Do you think that would have happened? Probably not. Like, they would not have put a Hounds locker in there. So for someone like Kenny, who has been here now for 8 years, 9 years
since Bob came.
Yeah. So it's been a minute.
7, 8.
Yeah, well deserving. Super cool. It'll probably be there forever. Yeah. Good shout, Justin. Is there anything else that I'm missing? I feel like, maybe there's other stuff going on. I don't know. Lots of shoulder shrugs.
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's been a quiet time of year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Everybody's been spending time doing stuff with family and friends.
Did we talk about one of the Riveters has won the NCAA Women's Championship? Yes.
Oh, it's Tessa. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we talked about that either.
No, we didn't. I was saving it because I'm hoping to talk to Tessa here soon and do like a whole show with her. But yes, Tessa won the NCAA championship with the Tar Heels. So again, just sort of another feather in her cap that she's going to be bringing back to Pittsburgh, which is great. So, yeah.
Listen, there's 26 spots on that women's national team. And it'd be crazy if more than one was filled with a Riveter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
I did see that. I did look. I keep a tracker of like when the Hounds have signed players, like the date of announcement. And like a lot of seasons, the first one or two comes in the middle of January. So hopefully in the next week or two, we'll get a signing.
Fingers crossed. I saw Danny Griffin got married. So congrats, DG. There were a lot of players that were out there at the wedding and taking pictures and stuff. So yeah. Alrighty. Well, thanks guys for joining us during this, I guess we just got over the holiday period. Hopefully everyone stays warm and we don't lose power with Snowmageddon that apparently is sweeping the country at this point.
I'm hoping.
Yeah. Listen, I've already started like a little fire in the hopes of just keeping it going. In the case that we lose power, we'll just throw more wood in it. But as I mentioned, I am going to be talking to Coach John Bush this week. Hopefully it is scheduled, but lots of cool stuff that he's currently working through that we're going to talk about. So if you have questions for John Bush, you can email them to us at mongols3@gmail.com, and I will try to work those into the conversation. Otherwise, we will be back next week with another episode where we'll do the interview and then we'll talk about any sort of news that's happening. And as I've mentioned, we've got some ideas and some plans for some cool stuff that we're going to try to work in this offseason. So we will divulge some more of that, and hopefully this won't be as bare next time we talk. We'll see. I don't know. Yeah, changes, they are coming, but it should all be fun. It should all be good. Anything else that you guys want to add before we get out of here? Awesome. Stay warm, guys. Otherwise, thanks, everybody. We'll be back with more Hounds and Riveters news very, very soon.
Bye.
Bye.
This is the way, I think.
See ya.